Hi, everyone. Welcome to the SoFlo Real Estate Show. I am so excited that you all joined us. Today's topic, we're going to really talk about what's going on in the market and with some of the NAR settlements and how it's impacting the real estate industry. My name is Athena and Barrocas. I'm a top producer and award-winning realtor with Coldwell Banker here in sunny South Florida. I've been selling luxury homes for over 20 years, and I absolutely love working with my clients. So today on Ask Julie and Athena Anything, the topic is the NAR settlement and the impact on home prices. Julie, welcome to the show again.
Hi, thanks everyone. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you. Ready for this deep dive into this a discussion that has a lot of chaos, misinformation, and myths around it?
Can't wait.
Well, we're going to be little mythbusters today. As we talk about the NAR settlement and the impact on the real estate industry, the first thing I want to remind everybody is we have no idea what's going to happen, if anything is going to happen, and what the results of this lack of knowledge is. Julie, what are your thoughts just from an overview? Do you feel confident that we really know what's going to happen?
I mean, at the end of the day, we really don't, until they come back and the DOJ discusses everything, it's all just, chitter chatter. I think this podcast is great because it really kind of helps just talk about the actual facts instead of what could happen or what is happening, what might be happening, because we really just don't know.
Absolutely. We're going to cut through some of the noise. I have to share something though, and that is I was really surprised yesterday. You and we couldn't do our podcast yesterday, which was Monday, which is a day we always do because we had technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And so we postponed it. But I have to say, I'm glad we did. And this is the reason is that yesterday I was going through my social media like we all do, right? And I came across a podcast and I had to stop. It was like, put the brakes on and just stop and take a look at this, and I was really quite disappointed and you're just really disappointed. So I'm not going to name the person's podcast, but we all know, that we have very influential people on doing podcasts. We have people from industries. We have people that, we'd love to read about and to follow and look at their advice. But this one here, I had to go in and say something. So the podcast was What's Changing in Real Estate. And it was filled with misinformation. It was filled with projections. It was filled with everything that was wrong. And on her podcast, unfortunately, we had multiple types of people. We had wealth managers responding. We had realtors responding. We had mortgage people responding. We had her followers responding and saying things like, what? Fact check. Where's your fact checking? We enjoy you, but now I don't know if I can follow you. Stay in your own lane. These were the kind of responses this person was getting. And Julie, I know you're sitting there smiling, but we have to be careful when we do go out with information that we go out with the right information and it's a truthful information and that we're really guiding our audience so they can make the best decisions.
Are you telling me that everything I hear on the internet is not true? Like, come on.
Okay, maybe like a smidgen is true, but I know our stuff is true. But you're right. We all have to, even as an audience, we have to fact check what's being shared with us. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think it's better to educate than, I'm going to give you all the information that's out there, all the facts that are out there, and then you make your decision instead of saying, oh, this is how it's going to be.
It's just not that way. No. Hey, so let's get into this. We're talking about the NAR settlement and the impact on home prices. This is the one topic that is coming up over and over and over again with my buyers. Are prices going to come down? Should we wait? Do we have to pay commission? All this stuff. So I really want to concentrate strictly on the NAR settlement and the impact on home prices. And what does that really look like as we look at the settlement? Julie, I know you're getting a lot of questions from your clients regarding the settlement and how to move forward with purchases. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing from a lending side?
I think on our end, we're hearing a lot of the myths of, hey, now that I don't have to pay commission anymore, does that mean that I can buy a bigger house? Or, and it's crazy to think about that because, none of that's going to change when you're, anytime you use a service, you're going to be paying for it, whether it's done in a different way or, something like that is different. But, those are kind of the myths that I keep getting is that, now that we don't have to pay and now that we don't have to pay and now that we don't have to negotiate for these people, but it won't change. It'll just be done in a different way. You can't go on the multiple listing service and write about it, but there's still going to be places that you can go to kind of do that. So,
Right. So
and
you're
it's,
not seeing
yeah,
home prices being pushed down then, is what
no,
you're saying.
especially in Florida. Yeah, exactly.
Especially in
Especially
Florida.
in
No,
Florida.
I'm
Yeah.
getting a lot of that, a lot of those same questions, whether I'm at the grocery store because I have my name badge, whether I'm playing with golf, whether I'm doing my, calls to my clients. It's the number one question: what's happening with home prices? And so I think this is really a good way to start. The NAR settlement was, in March 2024, the NAR settlement came to be a huge number. $418 million was the settlement. And there's only two things that we know that the settlement covers at this moment. And that is that the commission for the buyer broker cannot be put into the MLS, and that a buyer broker agreement is going to be required. Those are the only two things that we know that have come out of the NAR settlement. Everything else, still awaiting the DOJ to approve the settlement in its whole. And if any changes are going to come through or what those changes are, they're not going to be effective right now until July 2024. So for anybody to go out there and speculate that all these other things are going to happen, we have no idea. The DOJ hasn't even ruled on the settlement.
Yeah, it's business as usual right now. And I'll kind of throw another wrench in what you're saying too, because so you were right. In January, a U.S. District Court judge ruled that settlement will stand. But on Friday, a federal appeals panel actually reversed that decision. So we don't even know if that's going to stand really at the end of the day. So I mean, to think that everything's going to change or to think that everything's going to stay the same is just not, it's just not 100%, which is why we're kind of talking about it now so that we can get that information out to you.
Yeah, that's a good point. So tell me again about Friday. What happened on Friday? I want to make sure everybody really heard what you just said.
Yeah, so on Friday, a U.S. District Court judge ruled that the settlement should stand. So that was in January. On Friday, a federal appeals panel actually reversed that decision. So that means that the DOJ might dive deeper into it. They might say, hey, I don't think that, we're going to completely change this around and maybe it should be allowed in MLS. We have no idea how they're going to go and what exactly was put in place in front of this federal appeals panel, but it could switch it up. It could come to different changes. So, we don't know. We have to always be on our toes and we always have to just follow the facts.
Yeah, follow the facts and, stay truthful to the facts. So
Yep.
I love that. So we're back to let's see what happens. So all of everybody else who's reporting out there on what these things are going to mean, really, we don't know. We
And
don't
and
know.
and let's just be honest. In Florida, our property value prices are not going anywhere. We have the beach. We have I mean, no, everybody wants to be here. So that's the one thing we know, and that's what
Yeah,
we
because
love.
absolutely. We have wealth coming in from the financial markets. Those are coming down from the north, from the west. We have hospitality. We have beaches. We have Nassau or the private enterprise coming right off of Titusville and Port Canaveral. We have new construction. There is so much going on in South Florida right now that is impacting home prices. The NAR settlement is not one of them. So let's talk about how prices are really determined. The myth out there is that this is the myth when it comes to the NAR settlement. And this is the myth. This is not a fact. Is that right now sellers are paying the buyer broker commission through the proceeds of the sale. So let's say it's 3%. The myth is that the seller is going to be altruistic and take that 3% that they're not paying to the buyer broker, right, Julie? And somehow reduce the price of the home for the buyer by that same 3%. Not happening. Julie, have you
Not
ever think
happening. I'm not
not
seeing that
happening?
anywhere. Yes.
No, especially in South Florida where our home prices are continually going up and up and up. I think year to date, they're up about 6% nationally. So I'm sure Florida is somewhere right there, if not a little bit more. So I don't see a seller reducing the price of a home by 3% in order to give the buyer that pass-through savings. And so let's talk about how really home prices are determined, Julie.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously the home prices are determined on, the school district, how big the house is, what community it's in, if, it's a gated community, it's, your home prices are pretty much valued on all of that, what city you're in, what the crime rate is, not anything to do with anything with NAR that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Selling a home is a commodity, right? And when you sell a commodity, that means a home is a home is a home, right? But everything you just said determines the actual value of that home. But it's a commodity, and all commodities are based on supply and demand,
Correct.
price equilibrium, and you throw in what type of market you're on top of. So, when we look at supply and demand, we are at a point in South Florida, and not unlike many other parts of the country, but we're in a part in South Florida where our inventory is way down here. Right? Way down
Way
here. And where are our buyer demand? Our buyer demand is up here. And on top of that, the 6-7%, it's become normalized. So once we see that interest rate drops maybe once or twice this year, what's going to happen? All those buyers are going to jump off their fence, enjoy the other buyers, and they're all going to compete for this low number of inventory of homes. And that's what's driving prices up and up and up. So to think that we're going to see lower prices in the near future, especially here in South Florida, I think that's a myth in itself. Julie?
No, it really is. And, at the end of the day, if you talk about the market scenario for South Florida, which obviously we'll talk about that in a minute, I think that it really is just the supply and the demand, and adjusting to that supply and demand. As a lender, we adjust in any way that we can, like, as far as like, we'll, the rates are high, so we'll give you free refinances, this is going on, and it's the same with sellers. If they see something is adjusting, maybe they'll adjust, maybe they won't, but it's all depending on what exactly is going on in that market.
Correct. Yeah, and we're not even economists, Julie, and we can figure this out.
By any means, we do not hold a
By
degree in
any
economics.
means. It's true. I'm working with a client, and she found this great house to put an offer in. It's been on the market for 2 days. She loves it. I call the agent day number 2, Julie. I'm sorry, we're not taking any more offers. So I said, well, you haven't seen my client's offer. Maybe she wants to offer something that is very compelling to your seller. What would it take? She goes, well, honestly, I don't think she'll do it, but we want you to waive inspections. We want you to waive appraisal. And, if you don't want to waive appraisal, then you have to come in very high above appraisal, and on and on and on and on. So we're really right back. In some cases, we are really right back to a very, very competitive market for our buyers.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And like we said, everything's negotiable.
Yeah, it actually is. It really is. So, and the other thing I want to bring up, just because MLS right now says that we're not going to be able to put buyer broker commission on MLS, it does not mean that sellers are prohibited from paying a commission. So, that goes right back to home prices really are not going to come down just because of a settlement agreement of where a commission can be posted. Commission can be posted at this time anywhere, including MLS. In July, the thought is that it may not be posted in MLS, but that doesn't prohibit by paying a buyer broker. It doesn't prohibit sellers selling listing agents putting the commission anywhere else but MLS. So I think that's something that, we really need to help our audience understand.
Yes.
Let's get to why a buyer broker is important to a seller, Julie. Let's dive into this topic. We're back to basic economics, right? So talk to me a little bit about how you see a buyer broker being important to a seller.
So I think more buyers are competing for a seller's home. So the higher the sale price, so a seller benefits to identify and intensify the market to bring in more buyers and compete for their home. So I guess kind of what I mean by that is, they'll incentivize it. They'll say, hey, during COVID, they used to say we'll get free house cleaning for everybody, for a year, free house cleaning for a year if you come in. So I know that, historically, your for sale by owners will always get that lowest rate because they don't actually go into that open market. So there's so much misinformation regarding this area. It's just important to remember that no one knows what the new practice will be adopted regarding the commission and how it'll be shared between agents. No one knows how the buyer broker agreement will be adopted into this practice. What we do know is that the seller always makes more money selling their home when there's competition for that home. So that buyer broker actually has a very significant role in this process.
True. Because we get back to basic economics and creating a market for that particular home. So I agree with you. A for sale by owner is always going to get the lowest price because of the lack of competition. And the significant role of a buyer's broker for the seller is because all those brokers coming together to help compete for that home for their client will make a difference in the actual sales price.
Those for sale by owners, you're in Florida, you're going to sell your house and you're probably going to sell for exactly what you want it for. But is your house priced where it should be? If you have 5 or 6 people bidding on the house, and what's that the saying that we hate to see as a buyer's agent? Give us your best and final offer. It's
highest and best.
Yeah, you're highest and best offer. What is that? And it really is determined by the families. Maybe they leave New York and a $1.8 million house up there is a $900,000 house here. If they see on your little for sale by owner side 900,000, they'll offer you 9,500. But with an agent, they might have offered you 1.2 because you build that buzz and you get it going. It's going to be gone if you don't offer your best and highest offer.
It's true. And that's where the significance really comes in for the sellers. And I think they understand that. I mean, look, we've been doing this now for years and years and years, a couple of decades. And I have never had a seller say, I don't want to pay commission because it's always been negotiable. They have always understood the benefit of paying for that buzz to create that market around their home to get that higher price. So absolutely, I completely agree with you. So where do you think home prices are really going to go this year, Julie? I know we said up, but
they can only go
like
up.
the movie.
Yeah. They can only go up. There's lack of supply and buyer demand. Now you add, an interest rate drop, hopefully here soon. And boom, everyone's off the fence and competing for the few homes that are on the market. So the price is going to go up and then it'll go up and then up again.
Yeah, that is true. It is true. So, we have to just focus. If you're a buyer or somebody's buying a home, with focus is really on when to buy. And when to buy is right now. We don't have a huge amount of competition out there, but as soon as the summer months come, we will have a lot of competition. So we'll have competition. We have low inventory. We have, appreciating values, meaning the prices are going up. Waiting has never been a good strategy in this type of market.
Nope.
If we had the opposite where we had so many homes on sale and no buyers, we might be having a different discussion. But right now, we have no inventory and we have lots of buyers. So waiting's only going to get more expensive. So I
Yep.
think the big takeaways in this podcast is one, nobody knows what's going to happen with the NAR settlement, Julie, correct?
Correct. And price has never been impacted by how much a realtor is paid. We know that, right?
That's true. Commissions, fees, title, title policy cost. None of the cost of sale has ever impacted what the value of a home is in the market. And to pull commission out and say that commission is somehow impacting home prices would be the same as a title policy, a lender fee, a notary fee. None of these fees for closing impact the cost of a home, especially in a market like this, but they never have and they never will.
Correct.
So Julie, thanks for bringing that up. So again, what's your biggest takeaway, Julie, from our podcast today?
My biggest takeaway is, when should a buyer buy a home? Now. Right now. The worst time to buy is when everyone wants to buy a home. We've dealt with clients together where they've looked for houses. We had one client together, one beautiful family that put, I think it was, was it 16 offers? 16 offers on multiple offer situations, sitting, waiting 2 days, not hearing anything back, not knowing what to do. I don't know how many times with that family I typed up exactly what the payments are going to be, and everything like that. When you want to buy a house, when everybody else wants to buy a house, it's just everybody wants to buy it, Right now, You're losing out. By not buying now, you're losing out on those property values just going up and up and up and up. It's what they continue to do. And what is that saying? You marry the house and you date the rate. That's what they say, so you're always going to dive. You're always going to go into your house and dip into it and take money out to redo your kitchen. You're going to dip into, take money out to get the new fencing on your backyard. Anything that's going to bring value to your house, you're always going to dip into your house. You're going to refinance in 5 years. You're going to dip back into it again. That's what it is. It's an investment. It's an investment in your future, and it's investment in your family. And the only time that you can start dipping and diving is when you buy now. Right now.
Right now. I agree. My biggest takeaway is that buyers out there shouldn't be afraid to move forward. Cut through the noise. Just cut through the noise and look at what's best for you and your family. Talk to a professional realtor. Talk to a professional lender. Really understand what is happening in today's market, and then make a good decision. So if you'd like Julie or I to be, that sounding board for you or to help you through your home buying journey, we would love to help you. So make sure you reach out to us, or we could book an appointment or reach out directly. But Julie, I always love having you as my guest host and my co-host and my guest speaker on the SoFlo Real Estate Show with Ask Athena and Julie Anything. And I think we should continue to cut through the noise until there's some kind of understanding of really what's going to happen in the marketplace.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about this for a long time. It seems like every week something switches up or changes, or, somebody comes in and, and has a better idea and a bigger plan. So, I definitely think we'll definitely touch on it. And it's always a pleasure to be here and, helping people to kind of, it's a lot of information and a lot of, misinformation. So it's great to partner with you to educate, home buyers on where we're really at.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. Have a great day. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.